Okay, so probably the light is a little bit dark, so probably I think it's better. Okay, please let me know that if something I have to just put my voice volume. No, I think it's fine. So yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon, Mabuhay, or everyone here, our friend from UNC Philippines. So we are in Observatory Universitas Amadalan. So this is Astronomical Observatory. My name is Yudiarto Pramudia. I'm one of the lecturer in physics education in Universitas Amadalan or the UAD. And also the university gives us the mandate to manage the Pusat Studi Astronomi or the Center for Astronomical Studies. So the one of the lab in the Center for Astronomical Study is the observatory. So it's basically the observatory Universitas Samadan is one of the laboratory in Pusat Studi Astronomi. The Center for Astronomical Studies. So this is also organized or led or coordinated by the Lembaga Penelitian dan Pengamatan Masyarakat or the Institution of the Research and Community Service Universitas Amadalan. So the observatory or the observatory Universitas Amadalan is located at the 10th floor in the new campus compound in the south of the Yogyakarta, basically. So this is the location, and I will guide you more to the different room in our facility in the observatory first. For the first, we have several social media for our astronomy, so you can also visit and subscribe and follow and whatever that you want or like. So this is like the current trend of the communication. So we do have the the Instagram, and also we do have the Twitter at Pastron.UAD, and our website is the pastron.uad.ac.id. And if you want to send mail communication, send mail to pastron@uad.ac.id. The Facebook, you can also join our Facebook page, Astronomi UAD. And of course, that you want to watch our documentation or documentary video and also the streaming of the observation in the channel of the YouTube is Pastron UAD. So please subscribe and we can interact more later after this session. Or if you want to visit Indonesia and wants to make a reservation, you can also contact this number. So it's basically, this is our way to communicate with the public. So the Pastron of Studi Astronomi is basically the center that has basically two major core of the activity. One is the research, the second one is the education. Even though the research and education, the research and education is also have the link. So, for example, our research is not only for the observations, but also the research on education. And education itself is not only the education for the internal students or in the Universitas Amadalan, especially in the education, but also we offer the service for the society or for the community, for the citizen, that they can get the opportunity to visit us here in the observatory. So basically, we run the service of the educational tourism. It's not tourism, so the public can make a reservation to visit us here, even though currently a little bit difficult because of the restriction due to the pandemic. But on the normal era, we got a lot of the reservation from the university, from the general public. even the elementary or the preschool, uh, they come here and they learn about the astronomy. Because usually the public understand that the observatory is located far from their place, so they have the opportunity to visit us is very close in the neighborhood, and it is also open. So because probably like some people understand that the university facility is only open for the, the academic staff and also the student, but we also open for the general public. So this is the way we also interact with the public to enlighten, to give the education of the public. So we will go to the different room, and we slightly have changes in the scenario because of the weather. It was in the morning until midday. It was a very clear day, so we had opportunity to observe the sun. But now it's completely. It's almost like a little bit open on the sky that has probably the sunlight. But we can figure out later. But let's see. Let me go to the different room, or if you guys have questions, you can stop me anytime to ask. And also here, thank you for the cameraman. What's your name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Uh, there is also accompany me to go around the facility. So basically, you can see the facility here, but we can show the surrounding here. So you can see the window that you can see the Jogja city. We are in the top level of the building. So this is the control room. So we control every apparatus or device or instrument at the observatory. So basically, this is the brain of the observatory. So we also discuss here about what is the plan. We discussed a lot here, and also we control everything, the every instrument. And we can go to the other room. So let's go. This is kind of the virtual visit. So we can go. This is the photo booth area. So probably we can skip it. So more. And yeah, this is the gallery room. This is the gallery room. So uh, we so we will like we set up the post. Okay, so we designed this room is intended for the people for the public visit the observatory and enjoy their time to learn about astronomy using the learning media. It's not only for the learning media is manufactured by the industry, but also this is developed by our students. A lot of the students here develop the learning media. Is some part of the final project or final thesis in the undergraduate and postgraduate. So maybe you already know that we are strong in the education in this university of Muhammad, and probably we can also have more collaboration in the near future. So one of the topic of the research education in the Sastra Astronomy or Center for Astronomical Study is about the disability. So we reach the people who has the difficulty to see or to hear, like people in the hearing impaired and also the visual impaired. We reach them to give the opportunity to learn about astronomy or physics in general. So this some of the learning media that we have. So this is the robot Mujaya. This is the instrument to locate or to know the time. So we can do two modes. So one of the mode is we know the location and we wants to know or to measure the time. And the other mode is to if you know the time, can also measure what is the location that we are currently now. So this is the old technology, but still can be used in the from the ancient astronomy. And the next is the dome, the spatial dome. This spatial dome is intended for the visual impaired. So usually we are the dome for the planetarium. So the planetarium that usually we go to visit, usually like have the dome and the sky projections from the projector, and the visitor see what the movement of the star. But for the visual impaired, they have difficulties to see the one that we trying to help to assist them is to give the opportunity for the visual impaired student not to see but to touch the star and constellation. So by building this spatial planetarium that we call it the tactile planetarium because it has the feature of the tactile image, so the student can go below it, in it, and then touch the wall that has the constellation. So this is basically we can fold it and then bring it to the different places. So it's also part of the collaboration with our colleagues from Malaysia. So it's basically this international project, and we got the funding from international astronomy. So that's why I offer you guys that if you want to have the collaboration, so we are more than happy to. So this is for the visual impact. So we can speak for a little more. So we can go to different places here. So we have a collection, a lot of collection of the learning media. So we can do the learning media here. So here we are having the globe and also the celestial sphere. There's Earth and there's constellations, and there's the Braille book that the student can understand about the astronomy and also the tactile image. And this is also the learning media of the eclipse, so the student can the visual impaired student can touch and to understand about the concept of the eclipse, both eclipse, of course, the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. And this is also the sphere of the constellation. When the constellation is it's not complete constellation though, but the student can get the idea about the sky, or for example, like I know the Tagalog also say similar word in Indonesia. Indonesia we call it langit. I think the Tagalog is also called langit. So this constellation, the star in the sky or langit have a pattern. That the pattern is the constellations. So since the visual impaired student cannot see, so we also built this tactile constellation, so the student can touch and feel and understand about the pattern. So this is the way. This is the sphere that the student built and developed by very careful and very uh, intelligent way. I mean, like they calculate the position based on the real or the actual location to the program, the software of the sky simulation program. And also we equip this field with the braille, so the student, the visual impaired student, and also touch, and the private student can also use this field because there is the written the Virgo and Libra, the information written on it. So basically, this is not intended special for the visual impaired student, but also for the sight student. So this design, usually we call it as the universal design. So we have the 3D printer project here. So this is the surface of the one of the planet, I believe. So this is we built the surface of the moon, moon probably the moon using the 3D planet and 3D printer. So the student, the visual impaired student, and also the sight student can touch and to understand that the moon is not the sphere that has smooth surface. There are several features. There is the crater, the mare, or the mare is the kind of the ocean, basically that's the Latin word. The mare and the crater. So this is basically the model that we built in our observatory. Okay, and this is the spherical sky simulation that we can use it to teach the student how the motion of the sun, the apparent motion of the sun. Of course, is the sun is not revolving around the earth. The earth is revolving around the sun. So, and we will go to the main part of the observatory. There is the dome that has telescope in it. But since the weather is not good right now, probably we can go for the model of the telescope. So one of our student here probably will and give the information. So you ready to explain?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Ready.
please explain this kind of the telescope model. Oh, maybe this bit that you want to. Okay, you can do it. Here. Introduce yourself, your name.
Okay. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Elvi Nurbahasana, and you can call me Elvi. I'm from Physics Education, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan. And today I will explain to a tactile telescope. And the tactile telescope, which is especially teaching for visually impaired students. The object of the telescope was made up of three sections, and the objective part, and the connecting part, and the ocular part. Okay, we're going to skip to the first part of the objective composite of a lens of around 9 centimeters in diameter. And the body of the telescope is made of a parallel measuring around 45 centimeters in length. And side of the coin are marked by this lensa objective or lens objective. And this telescope. Inside, inside was a strike group to identify the trajectory of the light in the telescope. And part of two, which is the connecting part, this measure around a length and the diameter around 9 centimeters, and of two connecting boards here. Okay, and then part of three, this ocular objective, this lensa objective. The ocular section is made up of two varieties of parallel. And then the ocular lens is a convex lens. And the side is the braille lensa ocular and here, in here. Okay. And the rope used had a diameter of 1 centimeter, and the rope had raw texture. Raw texture on the rope would give a different touch to visual impaired student, and touch is important visually impaired student to gather information about their environment and to perform them. Touch informs more than just the characteristic of the material, such as it is shape, size, and texture. Okay, that was the demonstration on the tactile telescope, and thank you.
Yeah, in the morning, probably you guys have already had a session about the optics. Probably. But probably you still remember about the presentation of Mr. Eko. Yeah, I think it's about the optics, about the lens definition, and also it's all related to the optic. So basically, on this afternoon sessions, to be introduced to with the actual or the real example of the application of the optics that we have already discussed in the morning. So basically, this is the continuations of the teaching in this on today. So basically, in the morning we have the interactive session with the theoretical background, and in this afternoon we do have the actual of the experimental optics. So we one of the application of the optic is is basically building the telescope. So since even though the visual impaired doesn't have opportunity to see from the telescope, but we introduce the concept of the telescope in such a way that probably in the future they have they have opportunity to develop some kind of the telescope that is intended for visual impaired. So basically, I think that's all for this part. So maybe we can go to the next room for the different learning media. So yeah, thank you guys for the explanation. So it's a little bit dark, but okay. So it is. Okay, so we do have another room. Okay, so this is our workshop room.
Okay.
Yeah, this is basically our workshop room that is intended for this time to working. Basically, we build learning media with the apparatus here. It's like a kind of the dirty room when everything is a little bit messy here. But you can see the workshop is not messy. And but also we do have several kind of a mini library. We do have a collection of the book, and yeah, the cameraman, if you want to flip 100 degree, so you can see the 3D printer. So that's also we mentioned before that we built the model of the surface of the moon using the printer. And now the interesting part, so I can introduce you with the other student, final year student, hopefully that she will graduate soon. She developed some kind of learning media. It's not it's different from the previous one. The other room that visual impaired, she she's interested more in the hearing impaired students. So she developed learning media for hearing impaired students in the topic of the sun. So please go ahead if you want to share something about your project. Introduce your name first and then your project.
Okay. Hello everyone. I want to introduce myself. My name is Cinta. I'm a physics education student at UAD. Here I will demonstrate one of study conducted at the observatory, namely making learning media with the theme of solar rotation for hearing impaired students. In this study, I made a simulation of the sun rotation in the form of augmented reality. This simulation made with more emphasis on visuals because students are very sensitive to visuals. This media has concepts such as game used in learning, Students can choose a virtual room for material, evaluation, or simulation. Here I show the simulation part of this media. You can see that. Hello.
Yes.
I can see it.
You can see? Can you see? Okay. The simulation is made in the form of an augmented reality that displays 3D image that can rotate. You can see the small black dot. You can see that.
Okay.
You can see the small black dot on the
Point,
surface of
point.
the sphere. The dot gradually change its position based on the movement. We can understand that the sun rotates. The object of simulation is the result of the real data from the image of the sun when the sunspot phenomenon occurs. This real data was taken from November to December 2020 at the observatory using telescope, solar filters, and digital cameras. In data collection using a monochrome filters, so the color of the sun surface is white. The sunspot has the identity of AR 2786 with a rotation period of 27 days and a latitude of 17.6 degrees. Okay, everyone, that's a little demonstration for me about augmented reality media, and thank you. I return to Mr. Yudi.
Okay, so that's probably you can still share the animation. So yeah, probably they are still watching the AR. So the augmented reality here is the innovation that we developed here in Pusat Kerja Astronomi and also helped by the program study of the study program of physics education. Basically, the final project. This is part of the final project. You can still have the simulation. So basically, we observe the sun daily, and one of the advantages observing the sun daily is to be able to track the motion of or movement of the sunspot. Even though the student she was telling us about the dot or small dot. This is not small or tiny. Actually, this is the size is about the size of the Earth. So you can imagine that this is basically huge. It's not a tiny dot, but we observe it from the Earth. This is very tiny compared to the surface area of the sun. And this is the basically very interesting phenomenon since the temperature of the sunspot is lower than the surface temperature of the sun. So this is basically still puzzling why the temperature of the sunspot is lower or colder, even though it's not cold, it's like about 6,000 or 5,000 K Celsius. But this is basically lower than the rest of the surface area of the sun. So some of the arguments, some of the idea trying to explain why the temperature is lower is basically there is some kind of the blocking of the energy coming out from the core of the sun trying to escape or trying to reach the surface, but there is a layer, some kind of the blocking mechanism that is formed by the strong magnetic field around or in the vicinity of the sunspot. So there is this very strong.
This is very active. So this is also indications that if we observe more and more number of the sunspot, so we can also predict
or point out that the sun has reached the maximum activity. So the maximum activity that, like I said, that the activity is kind of the cycle. Sometimes the sun has the maximum activity, sometimes lower activity. And more number of the sunspot that we observe, it means that we know that the sun is very active. If the sun is very active, the charged particle, and then we'll interrupt with our electronical device. One of the very fragile instrument that in the sky is about it is the International Space Station. So they need to have very great protection from the particle ejected from the sun. So you can see in if probably okay, you still can see the augmented reality. So the student has already mentioned about the motion of the the sunspot that can indicate that the sun rotates. Some of the students probably still have the idea or understanding that the sun is fixed, the sun is not rotate. But we introduce the student that concept about the sun is the sun also rotates. Okay, the sun also rotates. The sun with all the member of the solar system also together revolve around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. But this is more complex idea. But we trying to explain to the student from this learning media is about the sun rotation. So this is the real data, and then we convert it into the simulation. So basically, this is not fake or like trying to computerized trick. No, this is the real timing that it's not only timing but also the image coming from the real observation. But probably for the sake of the purpose of this presentation, we slowing down the motion in order that you can see the motion very clearly. Of course, this in the duration of the time frame of during the sun going around probably is different time frame here. So this is the student can use the hearing impaired student can use this learning media, and since this is a new project or a new idea that emphasize or employ the new technology of imaging, that we believe that this new innovation of learning media can attract and can improve the interest the student to understand or to learn about the astronomy or at least the natural science. So this is our learning media for the visual impaired and also hearing impaired. So this is the sun model. So for the next part, then we can go to the upstairs. So the main part of this observatory is the dome, and we are trying to observe the real sun, but probably the weather is permit us the weather is cloudy, but okay, let's give a try. So we can go upstairs, but we can go slowly because the cameraman will or that can block your okay, no problem. So probably can go behind me. So basically this is stairway, not stairway to the heaven, but stairway to the so
kind of dark. We're trying to adapt our eyes to the dark. Okay, so we do the other and then observe what we will open. So we need help. So this is our dome. So this is our dome. The diameter is about 5 meters. Watch out. Careful. Step. Joint with the great accuracy and can tracking the motion of the sky. So we are currently this is still brand new, and we are still setting it because we have to be able to operate with extra motion and also with the great accuracy. So we set up not only mechanically, not only electrically, but also optically. So we need to get 3 parts. Those part is very important for operating the telescope. So even though we have already set up this one, we are not using it for the sun. We are not using it for observing the sun because it is too powerful. This is for the faint object. I mean, like this is faint object is sometimes the object has the characteristic very faint or low photon or low light intensity, but also it can be the strong or the high light intensity producing, but they are located in far away. So that's why we observe it from the Earth as the faint object. So this telescope is intended for that kind of object. So there's a very far object, and also probably for the nebulae and the galaxy. But for the planet and the moon and the sun, so this is too powerful. So we employ or we using the different telescope, and you can go from the small telescope. There it is. You can go here. But here there's the telescope, the William Optics telescope, the small telescope. But it's very powerful. Optical quality is good. It is mounted at the Rosmandy GM8, and it's also robotic. You can also program it with the spatial program. It can be pointed to the several to certain direction, a certain object, and can track. So this morning until midday, until noon, we had a very clear sky, and we were able to capture or to record the sun. However, the weather is not nice currently. Fortunately, we were able to record the sun image. So probably one of the student, is the student of the postgraduate. It's already graduated from the undergraduate. So, do you want to explain more about it or no? Okay. I think he's too shy to explain. Probably he more focused on the electronic stuff. So probably the camera. Do you want to share or yeah will? Okay. Yeah, you can see on the right panel. There's a recording. It's not currently it's not the current sun, but it's recorded sun. I think it's like around 1 p.m. I believe. Yeah. Yeah. So this is from it, but it is the same sun, but it's not really the same sun. Even though we are observing the sun right now, it's not the sun right now because the sun that we see from the Earth is about the sun that is 8 minutes ago. That's what you can ask me why I say this is 8 minutes ago of the sun, because the light coming out from the surface of the sun reach our eyes at the Earth takes 8 minutes. You probably know the fastest object in the world or in the universe is the light. Okay, but even though it's very fast or the fastest, it still takes time. Still takes 8 minutes to reach our Earth. So that's why even though we still can see the sun currently right now, it's not the sun right now, but 8 minutes ago. So you can also think more about it. If we see the object farther from the sun, it means that we can see the light very old. So if you read in the website or the book that is the sun has the 4 light years distance, it means that if you are able to see the light, it means the light has already emitted 4 years ago. Like probably 400 years is 400 years ago, 400 light years, 400 years ago. So that's the benefit of observing the very distant object. That's a way that if we go farther and farther, it means that we can collect information older and older and older. And in such a way, and eventually we will reach the very primordial or very beginning of the light that is basically the signature of the Big Bang. Of the Big Bang. So it's basically the signature of the beginning of the universe. That's the goal of the research. And since we are also trying to connect with the morning session that Mr. Isafit he was explaining about the remote laboratory and the advantage having it during the pandemic, and we can also introduce you with the kind of the remote observation. So we also invite you guys to use this service. So we are open for this collaboration. Just call me up. I already give you the link of our web and our social media, and please contact or reach us in those link, so we can set up the schedule that you guys in Philippines can also using our telescope. So what kind of what was the strategy? Probably RD here. His name is RD, so probably you can find the face of RD. Okay, that's it. That's him. That's him on behind the laptop. So RD will introduce you or sharing the software. Probably you know already the software. It's very simple software that you can operate our device here, or operate our laptop, operate our computer, and also operate our telescope with from the Philippines or from any place, basically. So have you already shared the software, or you can still put it on the screen? So if you guys interested to operate our telescope, so you need to install or you need to have the that's it, the team viewer. So the team viewer here, so you can connect your device to our device by plugging the ID and also the password, so we can connect our device and you can control our observatory. This is basically very simple collaborations. As long as we do have the connection, the internet connection, we are fine. We are in the good condition. So please contact us, because we do have right now the very bad condition, very bad weather. But I promise you, in the future, we will having the clear sky. So that you already observed the sun.
I believe the sun. I don't know that you probably you can share us about the name or the Tagalog name of the sun. Probably Arau or I don't know in the Tagalog, but langit is langit, I believe. So probably we can have the collaboration in the future about the not only observation but also education. So I believe this is already almost an hour. Right? I think that's it from me. I know. Yeah. Uh, do we have the moderator or some kind of uh, question and answer here? I don't know about the the schedule, but at least for me, from our side is enough. And yeah, please feel free to ask questions or idea or concept or whatever that we can discuss. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Yudi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, student from UNC, that's all the presentation from Mr. Yudiakto. And he is now in our observatorium in the dome. So if you go, maybe in some time in the future, you go to UAD in Yogyakarta in Indonesia, you can visit our telescope, the big one right there, the black big one right there in our observatorium. And for your information, yeah, this observatorium is only one in Yogyakarta. So in Yogyakarta, there is only one observatorium, like Dr. Yudiakto said. Is only one in Yogyakarta. So if you come to UAD, it is I think the benefit is you can observe in your observatorium, in our observatorium. Now, so actually, I don't know if there are any observatorium like that in UNC, but maybe in some time we can collaborate together, because I see that in UNC there is a lot of open air and not many light polluted in Naga City. In Bicol, Naga City, there is no, in some places it is widely open and not many light pollution, so we can observe the moon, the constellation and something like that more clear than here. Yeah, in here. So the next one, we have 10 minutes for question and answer. Maybe here from UNC student, you have a question for us. That's how Mr. Yudiakto teach about astronomy. So they have a many project, yeah, making tools for virtual impaired person, so they can study astronomy. So it's very nice things. Yeah, visual impaired person can study astronomy, the constellation, star, moon, eclipse, solar eclipse, yeah, and so on. They can study that, and also in the next room, they also have a project to visualize the blind spot of the sun. And this is I think it's very good project, and many tools that they build to presentate the astronomy phenomena, yeah, for the student. And the last thing that we have, actually I don't know, 5 or 6, yeah, telescope here in UAD in the observatorium, so you can use it to see and observe the astronomy object, yeah, astronomy object in the sky, yeah. And then the last one, Mr. Yudiakto go to the dome. We have dome right there in the top of the building near me. This is in lab building, yeah, Hear me? There is a official building actually for student to learn, yeah, in class and something like that. And in the top of the building, in the 10th floor, yeah, we built observatorium that Mr. Yudiakto said. And I think the last time Mr. Yudiakto observed the red moon, yeah, red moon, I think, yeah, when I in as long as I know, yeah, observe the red moon in with their telescope. Yeah, I think that's how Mr. Yudiakto teach, yeah, about astronomy. He used many projects in his observatorium, and we have several times, yeah, 7 or 6, 5 minutes, yeah. After this, is there any question from UAD student, UNC student, I mean, University of Nusantara student? If you have a question, please open your mic, and then maybe you can open also your cam so we can see you and we can hear you. Thank you very much. Or you may write down on the chat box, right here in the bottom of the screen. So, is there any? Not yet, yeah. We still have 5 minutes. Hello, Mr. Yudiakto, can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Really, yeah? Okay. Okay. I think your dome is moving, moving, right? Okay. Okay.
Any comment from UNC side?
Yes, maybe there is a question from UNC. We will wait, sir, for a moment. And sir, what the last project that you do in the observatorium? I think that you observed the red moon. Is that correct, sir? The last time, the last one.
The latest already we just already finished to observe the lunar eclipse.
Yeah, lunar eclipse.
And for the on November 2020, but sorry, 2021, we also have another lunar eclipse. So probably that's our chance to retest our method and retest our equipment. So probably when we have a session of the night observation or the sun observation, we can also inform you the schedule, and probably if you have time or there is no conflict in the schedule, so please feel free to join us to have the collaboration on the observations. That's it. That's from outside. So, yeah, we are more than happy to collaborate, not on the observation but also on the education part of our research.
Oh, is that live, sir? Using Zoom or YouTube or something like that?
I cannot hear it. Would you repeat the questions?
If you are if we can collaborate with you, if we collaborate with UNC student to have observation.
Yes.
So we will go live streaming.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, we do have several plans to have the live streaming, and also we have already had it on the previous one that the previous event we open for the public to have observation, but we also it's not only on offline but also online. So we streaming live. For example, on we also discuss about the lunar eclipse. We stream it, and it's also relayed by the several channel on the YouTube. So yeah, please go to our YouTube, the Pastron UAD, and you can subscribe and then see what kind of project or live streaming that we are having at the observatory.
Yeah. So Pastron UAD have social media. Please access it, and then you can have many information about the plan. Yeah, plan for observe something.
So we can also give you the link.
Yeah. Okay.
The link of the YouTube.
Please give the link maybe in the chat box, sir, so we can know.
Yeah, one of the students can also help to give the link to the chat box for our channel.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and the last one, is there any question from UNC student? Please, maybe, is there any? Oh, none, sir. Thank you for the information and discussion. Okay.
Okay, we also say thank you.
Okay. Okay.
So from us, so we are.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Selamat.
Thank you very much.
Selamat.
Thank you very much.
Selamat.
Selamat ya. Selamat. Okay. Ya, selamat Bu. Okay, I think that's all for the breakout rooms in this room. Yeah, maybe after this we can go back to the main room, the plenary room 1, and we will have a closing for our activities today. We will wait for another room to go back to the plenary room. Thank you very much and goodbye. We will see you in the plenary room.
things
Recording
on my
in
own.
progress.
I can make decisions on my own. I'm already mature with these experiences. Is it a yes or a no? Just type in your answers, guys, on the chat box. Don't be shy. It's just a yes or a no. Anyone? Yes? Yes. Okay, you're already mature. How about this one? Is it possible that with your age, or that a man can mature in very young age? Say 21, 24, 25 still young. Is it possible that a man can mature in a very young age? Okay, I can see here there's a yes. All right. Thank you for your responses. Okay, now let's see if your concept of love or falling in love and maturity is also the same with the persona in the poetry of Alfred Edward Hosmer. Okay, let me give you first a short background about our author, Alfred Edward Hosmer. So he lived from, not form, I'm sorry for the typo error. He lived from 1859 to 1936. He was born in Worcestershire, England. And he was educated at St. John's College in Oxford. He was a noted classical scholar, though he is more popular as a poet. And A Shropshire Lad, which was published in 1896, was his best known volume of poems. Now, I am going to read to you the poem and you can read it silently. Okay, ready? All right. When I Was 1 and 20 by Alfred Edward Hosmer. When I was 1 and 20, I heard a wise man say, give crowns and pounds and gains, but not your heart away. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 1 and 20, no use to talk to me. When I was 1 and 20, I heard him say again, the heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid with sighs of plenty and sold for endless grew. Now I am 2 and 20, and no, it's true. 'Tis true. Okay, so that's the poem. Very short poem from Alfred Edward Hosmer, but with a very strong message. Okay, now for us to find meaning from the poem, I would like to introduce to you with one of the poetic devices that we use in understanding poetry, and that is imagery. Okay, so imagery is one of the poetic devices which refers to the mental pictures created by the words in the literary text. So we have several poetic devices that we use in understanding a text. So it would depend on what kind of approach you wish to use. So we have historical biographical approach, we have formalism approach, feminist approach, Marxist approach, and knowing poetic devices is part of the formalism approach for you to find meaning in the text. Okay, so this is imagery. Let's just focus on one poetic device, which is imagery. What is being created or the vivid picture on your mind when you read a poem. Okay, so now we are going to read. I'll be giving you time to read again the text. And I want you to focus on what kind of imagery is being formed in. Say 2 minutes will do. Okay.
Ma'am Tala, may I please update you that there are UNC participants already in this room. They are through with the demonstration in the other room, so they were directed in this room. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, for the UNC participants, so we are discussing when I was 1 and 20 by Alfred Edward Hosman. So we're just starting. So we are focusing on one of the poetic devices that we use to find meaning in poetry, which is imagery. I know you are familiar with imagery since it has been used by language teachers in high school and senior high school. So in college, we focus it on formalism. Okay, so my instruction here is, this is the first part or the first stanza of the poem. I want you to focus on the imagery that is being formed in your mind, the mental picture that is being formed in your mind when you are reading this when you're reading the first stanza. Okay. Okay, for the benefit of the UNCians who are just came in, let me read to you the text. You may read it silently. When I was 1 and 20, I heard a wise man say, give crowns and pounds and pennies, but not your heart away. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 1 and 20, no use to talk to me. So this is now the second stanza. Again, I want you to focus on the mental picture that is being created on your mind. When I was 1 and 20, I heard him say again, the heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid with sighs of plenty and sold for endless rue. And I am 2 and 20. I know it is true. Tis true. Okay, tis is a contraction of, if you don't like you're trying to question why is it like that. Tis true is a contraction of it is. Okay, tis true, tis true. All right. So I hope you'll already have a mental picture on your mind of the meaning of the poem. Now let's try to find meaning. Let's try to discuss it one stanza at a time. So there are only 2 stanzas. Okay, so I chopped the first stanza into 2 parts. So anyone who can answer me, what is the picture created here? Or what is happening in the persona? What does he feel? What does he feel in this part of the poem? Anyone? You may type your answers if you want to. Or if you want to, you can unmute yourself and say your answer. Anyone from the class? Okay, let me try to. Let's call Miss Donna Cafe from UNC. Donna, what do you think is the feeling of the persona here? Donna, can you please unmute yourself? Anyone? Nino? And for the participants from UAD, you may type in your answers if you want to. Carefree character. Okay. So there's a response here that the persona has a carefree character. So if you're going to look at the text, there's this picture that the persona is in love. Okay, the persona is in love. However, there was this advice coming from a wise man, an older person, telling him that yes, you can give material things, but don't give it all. Okay, so however, on the last part of the first stanza, what happened here? What is the character, the attitude of the persona towards the advice of the wise man? Anyone? But I was 1 and 20, no use to talk to me. So what could be the attitude of the persona here? Did he take the advice? Is it okay for him to be given advice? Of course, you will be able to see that it creates a picture on your mind that, yeah, didn't take the advice from the wise man. I was 1 in 20. He knows it. I'm young, I'm carefree. No use to talk to me. However, there was a turn of events on the second part or in the second stanza. When I was 1 in 20, I heard him say again, so there's another advice. If you're going your heart in bosom, your heart out of your bosom, you're going to heart, you give your heart away. So what happened was paid a size of plenty. Imagine what mental picture is being created when you're sighing a lot. Okay, sighing. So it means regret. Ru means regret. And then what happened? I am 2 and 20, and it is true. It's true. So mental picture that created in your mind that the persona was able to prove that the wise man was correct. It really happens to us, right? So when you're young, when you're carefree, you're carefree, and you do whatever you want because you think it's okay because you're young. It's justifiable because you're young. But at the end of the day, you will be able to say that, you will be able to learn that my mother was correct. I should have listened to my teacher. I should have listened to the elderlies. Okay. So it happened. That's what our persona experienced here. Okay, now to expound the meaning of the poem we have here, let's answer these questions. First question, what line from the text states that a youth can learn only from personal experience? Anyone? Okay, anyone from UAD? Please type in your answers. What line from the text? Okay, anyone? From UNC? What line from the text states that a youth can learn only from personal experience? Is it in the last part? Let's look at again the text. So this is the first part. This is the first stanza. And this is the second stanza. So which part? Is it in the latter part of the text that you will be able to see that the youth can only learn from personal experience? Okay, so you will be able to see here that on the last part of the second stanza, 9, 2, and 20, and no, it is true, it is true. Like what I have mentioned, the persona would affirm, yeah, I should have listened. I should have listened to the advice, okay? Now, why should we listen to the elderly? Why should we do it? Anyone? Why should we listen to those who have experienced these things? Okay, so it's, all right. Any response? Okay, of course, they have more experiences and wisdom, so we need to listen to them. So there are a lot. I would not ask you anymore of other circumstances in your own context that you don't listen to the elderly. Because like what I've said, because of the universality of the language, we experience the same things. Here in the Philippines, there are a lot of things that younger generation don't listen to the elderly anymore, like going to school, like falling in love at a young age. Okay, so there are a lot of circumstances in your own context, the Indonesian context, in the Philippine context, that we don't listen to the elderly anymore. Okay, so further, I'm supposed to give an activity, okay, but I assume that some of you are already tired because it's already afternoon and we already have so much activity that we had this morning. Okay, so I'm supposed to ask you to change the poem into a dialogue between a wise man and a youth. So it's an exchange of, it's a conversation between a wise man and a youth in the Indonesian context. So we would just like to understand or to share, to have a sharing of the, or how of course Indonesian also see the theme of the poem. So what I'm asking you to do is a form of intersemiotic translation. So relating this activity to other fields of languages, intersemiotic translation. So this activity is changing one genre to another genre. So we call it intersemiotic translation. So translation is very important in the elaboration and cultivation of language. Language is one of the most important gifts to humanity by the Supreme Being. So without language, we will not be able to understand each other. And literature is also very important because it teaches values. It hones the values, the character of our students. Not just that, but we appreciate other culture because of literature, because simply it mimics what is happening in the society, it mimics what is happening in our community. So for us in Asia, we appreciate the Western culture because of literature. We see their culture, how do they deal with their lives there in the West because of literature. And the West also see how we live our lives here in the East because of literature. Countries in Asia appreciate each other because of literature. You don't have to travel the world to understand, but through literature, you will be able to travel the world. Okay, so with that, I end my lecture. I hope you start appreciating languages and literature. Thank you so much for inviting me, Sir Butch.
Ma'am Crystal, thank you so much for the demonstration teaching. Thank you for letting us experience again the beauty of literature and how words can really share a lot of meanings. So for our UNC friends and UAD participants, in this room, we have showcased two demonstration teachings coming from faculty members of the UNC College of Education. One teaching a science subject or science lesson, and another for English, which is represented by Ma'am Tala. So at this juncture, we still have 5 minutes for us to entertain questions from our UAD friends in particular. Those from UNC are already used to the lessons that Sir RJ and Ma'am Crystal have demonstrated. So that is how we do it here in the Philippines. So Sir Echo, if you can please assist me with the UAD participants, whether they have questions about the demonstration teachings that were showcased in this virtual room. Sir Echo?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Woods. Yeah. For our friend for UAD, maybe you have a question for the presentation from UNC. Now we have Lucy right here. Hello, Lucy.
Hello, Mr.
This one our students. Very good, yeah. Do you have a question, Lucy?
For me, no, Mr. Because everything is clear.
Clear, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not.
it's a very good presentation. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, very good.
You are already a teacher right now, right?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Say hello to Mr. Woods.
Hello, Mr. Woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they are clear, sir, from Lucy. Maybe for another participant from UAD. Ya, teman-teman dari UAD mungkin ada pertanyaan terkait dengan ini. I'm not because I'm in the other room when the first presentation. Yeah, I heard that you in UNC you use physics education technology, right? PET, yeah, from Colorado. Okay, yeah, is that correct, sir? Okay.
For physics education, sir, we use simulations. We also
Simulation,
have
yeah.
Labster, and we also use online
Oh,
simulations
online
available.
simulation.
So free simulations also. Allow me to transfer the opportunity for further explanation to Sir RJ Competente. He
Okay.
is one of our demonstration teachers, and he has utilized simulations for science teaching. Sir RJ, for your sharings, please, for your experience.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Sir Echo, and the rest of the participants. Good afternoon. So at UNC, we are lucky enough that the administration has given us the academic freedom to choose the platform that we're enabled, and especially in teaching physical sciences, because as we know, this kind of sciences are the much difficult
Yeah.
ones, abstract ones. So we can concretize our lessons through different online simulations. I used in my demonstration the PET from the Colorado, University of Colorado, but the university also offers more available like Labster and other platform. As long as it's free, it's okay with the university. But when there is like we have to pay for something, we have to first seek permission from our college dean, and then let's and ask the administration. But usually they say yes, so they give assistance to us teachers in using some platforms. For my case, I'm also using, because I'm also teaching biology subjects, particularly some of the most complicated ones like genetics and microbiology. So this pandemic, we don't have that luxury to do some lab work. But um, thanks to the university, I was able to access some files from the University of Michigan, the University of Washington, and other universities around the world, offering free simulations for my students to explore. And in one point, we actually, in my class, we did some PCR testing, on, like a simulation of the PCR testing for COVID-19. It was made
Oh,
available by the University of Hong Kong as an online platform. So that is how we do things in our science classes. So as we gather as many free simulations as we could, and if not, we try to partner with that university, or at least try to reach out to them and enable us for us to enable to use those platforms.
okay, okay. Thank you very much for the
Sir,
explanation, sir. That's very good.
yes,
The
at the
same,
beginning
yeah.
of every semester, sorry, at the beginning, sir, of every semester, faculty members are being asked to organize our learning guides. And that is our opportunity to search for simulations, include them in our learning plans and modules. So at the start of the semester, as we float our learning resources, then students now are able to get a well curated study guide or plan in the execution of the course for the semester.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Clear, yeah, clear, yeah. And in UAD, we also have that, but maybe because we are specific, yeah, on specialization. Our specialization is in physics education, yeah. We also use PAD also, but we also offer many others virtual simulation like physics at school from fast track, yeah. If you search physics at school fast track, you will have that, and I use that, sir. I think I will uh, recommended that for physics at school, because what? Because in PAD, you know that some simulation it cannot be open because because it Adobe Flash, yeah, is that correct? Yeah, Adobe Flash is not supported anymore. Yeah, you cannot open it. But in this fast track, yeah, fast track, I will write down. Maybe if I can share screen, I will make you for fast track, yeah, fast track physics, fast track. This one, physics at Good. I write down in chat, yeah, fast track from physics at school, and it already in HTML mode, so it can be open, and it not very heavy and not like Java, right? Java is a little bit heavy, but it is in HTML mode, so it is light. And the reason why I recommended that, because you can also download it on Google Play Store. So you are a pet also in Google Play Store, but you must do pay. Is that correct? Yeah. In my country, I don't know in Philippines, but in my country in Indonesia, if you want to download pet in our uh, application, yeah, as application in handphone, we must to pay. But if we use that just in Google Play Store, write down physics at school, you will have from fast track, and then you download it and it's free. But maybe it only have a watermark or something like that. It's not very disrupt us to uh, use the simulation. I think that's my experience to use the virtual lab. And many other, you can also use your handphone as a sensor. Yeah, your handphone as a sensor. Maybe you know about Pipox, something like that, Pipox, or you can also use it as your phone as audio function generator. Also, we do that. We do that in here in UAD and make several experiment using sensor from handphone. And I think, yeah, the sharing session like this, I really like, because I know what you're doing. I learn from you, and we can share each other. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Sir Echo, for sharing that free online teaching tool, the VASCAC online tool for physics education. We will explore on that, and we'll see on how we can use that here in UNC. So it's already 4 o'clock. I wish to transfer the virtual platform or the hosting to Miss Fifi for the closing program. Miss Fifi?
Yeah, sure. Yes, okay. Thank you so much for Mr. Yudhakto Pramudia, Mr. Ronald Joseph, and Miss Maria Crystal for your presentation or demonstration. It was incredible presentation. And everyone, I feel so sad, but I have to say that this is the last session today. I hope this forum bring the best benefit to us, and I hope it isn't a last moment that we can meet and sharing each other. But before I close the session, after all day study together, I want to know, how's your day? And maybe for lecturer or participants from UNC, is there some words to speak for us?
Maybe on the part of UNC, if I may request, please, someone who would like to share as last words, I would like to call one faculty member, Ma'am Jonalyn. Is it okay if you can please share your impression or the experience today, just for 1 minute perhaps? Let me check. Anyone, please, from UNC? Hazel, may I ask a favor if you can please share your thoughts on the activity which you attended today? Miss Hazel of the College of Education. Hazel, please. or anyone from UNC? Your thoughts? Michelle, Baby Len, anyone? Okay.
Okay.
So I think UNC participants are shy, sir. How about from your end, from UAD?
From UAD student, I think we have here Lucy. I think Lucy, you can share your thought about your experience today from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. Maybe you can say some words for us. Thank you very much, Lucy.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Eko, Mr. Butch. Actually, I joined this event just 2 hours ago, but I got a lot of information, and it's a really nice. Yeah. Actually, in here also because I am physics teacher, I also use PAT like Mr. RJ present a while ago. I use that platform and also other platform. Yeah, because yeah, we know in the pandemic we conduct online classes here. Yeah, so all of all, I I get a lot of information, and it's really nice for me because yeah, I'm a teacher in the high school for the junior high school and senior high school here. Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah, and also I'm so happy because I can join this event even it's late. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sir Boo. Thank you, Mr. Echo.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucy. Yeah, and the last one is from me as the head of physics education study program and also official and represent all the teams here in UAD. I want to say thank you very much for joining to our session today in UAD, and hopefully what we have done today from the beginning of the day with presentation about education. Online platform that you can use for uh, teaching, and then continue to Dr. Isafid presenting about the remote physics laboratory that maybe you can access in the future. And then after that we have a presentation about Coursera, and then the next one is Jamboard and Trello and
Hello.
another online
Education.
online platform that we can use for teaching. And the last one we close with best practice teaching in our observatorium and also from expertise from UNC. And we hope that this all the process here we learn together. We truly also learn a lot from UNC, sir. Thank you very much for UNC. Thank you very much for UNC presenter today, and hopefully hopefully UNC student also learn something for us, from us, And then not the last one is I want to have apologize maybe in some place our not in our schedule is not on in time and something like that. Maybe not very comfortable for you. I want to make apology for that. And I will also reminded that next week we will have a research festival. Research festival